What's going on, good people out there in YouTube land? It is I, the Bad Wolf. Woo! Let's get going. Okay, as always, guys, all the information here is educational, entertainment, informational purposes only. If you do need a licensed or professional, please go and seek one because you're not going to find that here. All right. We do things the old school way, because everything that's out there actually came from the private, the unofficial, the natural before it became official. So if that's the case, then that means that somebody out there, educational purposes only, was prac was pertaining was performing all of these procedures that now have licenses, and then they decided to make an official, probably to try to limit the private person from being able to do what they want to do. But see, they can't stop the private. But if you're doing something in the private and you call it the public, well, then you've entered into their domain, their jurisdiction. So anyway, guys, this is the Bad Wolf. All right. So once again, you guys can check me out on TikTok, Instagram, and all the rest of the platforms. I'm pretty much on all the main ones at this point in time. Do not be fooled or scammed by people pretending to be me or gurus out there overcharging for services and prices and things of that nature. All right. So at the end of the day, if your work is solid, you don't need to break people at the kneecaps, like the family. Because here's the thing, the proof is in the pudding. If what you have is effective, then you should be able to move a lot of it. My theory is that if you can't move something a whole lot, then you charge a lot for it. That's just how I feel. But that does not mean that somebody's time, they cannot place a figure on what their time is worth, because time is the number one thing we have in here that is the most valuable of everything that is us. Okay. So, but I'm just saying, just use some common sense. All right. Other than that, as always, guys, if you see anybody using any of my videos on other platforms, talking trash, calling me the S word, which is defamation of character and suable, make sure that you guys report them for bullying, slandering, defamation, et cetera, et cetera. Thank you guys in advance. And I appreciate each and every one of you guys for the work that you guys have done, seen, unseen, heard, unheard, and all that, because I know you guys are doing it. I do hear some of the tales, so thank you. Remember, guys, for me, I don't hear you guys like my eyes and ears out there. So thank you guys for the tips. Thank you to the police officers who come forward in the private to speak with me in concern to some of these things. I won't mention their names because, like I said, I do keep things private. But even for them, and they know who they are, the ones who communicated certain things to me. Yeah, you guys are seeing now what I was talking about. These people hold their that world so close to the chest, they think that, and let me say this carefully, I don't want to try to offend people, but I really don't care if I offend people. But I'm trying to say it in the most professional way because that's just how I do things. These people are playing the game. They've played the game so long, they've been so indoctrinated that their world has become real. And they have not once checked the very foundation of their world's existence to know that underneath the floorboards is the Constitution that grants them the ability to be there, is the private sector, is the state citizen, is the national, is the private citizen. Even the last time I had cops over at my house, okay, on something unrelated to me, they look at my signs and they said, "Oh, is this like a international embassy, or is this a nation?" And I was like, "Yeah." And they said, "Oh, you're private." I said, "Yes." And they were like, "Oh, okay." And they were super respectful, you know all that, going to show you guys stuff's real. So when I reached out to these cops out here and other law enforcement agencies, a lot of you guys don't know what's going on. You guys are only getting orders from somebody who doesn't want you to know what's going on. So I'm not saying you should question their authority. Not at all. Um, what I'm saying is there's more going on than what they want you to know. At the end of it, that's it. And the reason why I can say that's because I was going to become a cop. I was studying everything in the books. I was going to go into the military. I studied everything in there. And if I had to be 1,000%, honest, the only reason why they didn't let me in is because I told them that I occasionally like to smoke some weed when it comes around. Now, this was years ago, and that was an absolute no-no. You couldn't have tattoos, you couldn't have facial hair, any of that. So very archaic, but being derailed from those opportunities, probably should have just lied, I guess, like everybody else. It brought me here. So I took the knowledge and things that I've learned from almost going into those very various industries and avenues and career fields and utilize it here. And I will be honest, in those days when I heard somebody talking like me, I was like, oh, you're very anti-American. And then I realized that no, there are some people who are anti-American, and then there's some people who are pro-American and patriotic by studying the Constitution. Most of the people out there who don't like my content or information, it's because you've never read the Constitution. You've never read the Declaration of Independence. You've never read the Bill of Rights. So before you contact me with your, well, this is how I feel, this is how you feel? This is how you feel. No offense out there, but you sound like a little bit when you tell me you feel some type of way about this information and you haven't read the Constitution, the Declaration, or the Bill of Rights. And you don't even know that all the systems out there in the United States of America were built from those documents. Police officers, et cetera, law enforcement, FB, whatever else, you wouldn't exist without that document, that private document that takes the power of the private and gives you guys legitimacy. Now that whole system is sitting up here like, well, yes, we're superior here and we don't answer anybody. Yes, you guys do, and yes, the system does. See, but the system answers to the American people when operating in the private, and they speak up. But those people have become so used to, so almost helplessly dependent upon that system that they're then operating in the public and they're broken. And so they don't know how to stand up for their rights anymore, not as a people and barely as an individual, which is the way the system wants it to be for certain people. But anyway, I digress. What is this particular video about? Well, we're going to be talking about credit. Okay. Now, this particular document is not my document. And at some point in time, I will place it on Black Site 32 on the second free document page, and then you guys can check it out. So, as always, guys, we are not against anybody. We are neutrals. We are not in their war. We are not political. We don't have any political ties or dreams or aspirations or any of that stuff. I already rule my nation. I don't need to be a part of any of that. So, we're not on anybody's side, but our side, but we're not against anybody out there. All right. And though the Constitution says you can be the citizens, meaning the private citizens and the nationals, are sovereign, that does not mean we are the S word by any means. The sovereign S, or the sovereign C word. Um, we are constitutional. We are private law. We are contract law. We are the people. We, the people. So without further ado, let's get over to this credit document, and I'm going to let the AI read it. Now, this did come from a private source, so I'm not taking responsibility for the content in it. Do your own research, check out the codes. I'm not telling you to do anything or not to do anything. We're just going to be sharing information. All right. So that is so weird. It popped up on this. All right. All right. Anyway, so let me get my assistant ready. Get the app ready here because I guess we'll just share the screen. All right. Share sound. Stereo. All right. Come on. Where's the all right? Oh, you know what? This probably this format style tools. Yeah, I don't think this program has the readability. All right. I guess I could read it, but uh, okay, hold on. I like to interject. I don't necessarily like to document. So let's see if I can find. Should be able to use Word. So how's everybody doing out there? Hope everybody's good. Remember, guys, as always, don't give up on yourselves, on what you're doing, what your dreams are. Sometimes you have to also understand that maybe the dreams that you want to do aren't the best for you. Okay. So you may have to change and correct that. Oh, stupid Microsoft. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can use it free on our website, but you can't use it free on your. Let's see here. My gosh, why is it so complicated? Sorry, guys. Give me one more moment here. You're like, it's full. Oh my gosh. Well, Outlook. I don't even use Outlook. Files. Yes, I want to manage storage. Oh my gosh. Just delete it all. You are using delete items. Inbox. Select all of them. There. Do I have some space now? I don't even use Outlook. It's like, all I want to do is play my. Oh my gosh. All right, let's try it now. No. No, no. Okay, I'm gonna try it one last time. If it doesn't work, then I'll just figure out another way. Okay, whatever. All right. Hold on. All right. And we're back. All right, here we go. All right, so let's go and read, listen, educational information only about credit matters.
Credit Table of Contents, page 1. If denied credit, ask to speak to the underwriter. Cannot be denied credit because the use of your social security number has unlimited credit. Page 2 to 5. Cannot require a cash down payment in a credit transaction. And cannot require insurance because it is already included in the finance charge. Page 5. Federal Reserve notes are obligations of the United States, not the people. Page 5 to 6. The United States is required to pay all principal and interest on its obligations. If denied credit, ask to speak to the underwriter. Cannot be denied credit because the use of your social security number has unlimited credit. 15 U.S. Code Section 1611 Criminal Liability for Willful and Knowing Violation. Whoever willfully and knowingly 1. Gives false or inaccurate information or fails to provide information which he is required to disclose under the provisions of this subchapter or any regulation issued thereunder. 2. Uses any chart or table authorized by the Bureau under Section 1606 of this title in such a manner as to consistently understate the annual percentage rate determined under Section 1606, A1A of this title, or 3. Otherwise fails to comply with any requirement imposed under this subchapter, shall be fined not more than $5,000 or imprisoned not more than 1 year, or both. Cannot require a cash down payment in a credit transaction. And cannot require insurance because it is already included in the finance charge. 15 U.S. Code Section 1605 Determination of Finance Charge, A. Finance charge defined except as otherwise provided in this section. The amount of the finance charge in connection with any consumer credit transaction shall be determined as the sum of all charges, payable directly or indirectly by the person to whom the credit is extended, and imposed directly or indirectly by the creditor as an incident to the extension of credit. The finance charge does not include charges of a type payable in a comparable cash transaction. The finance charge shall not include fees and amounts imposed by third-party closing agents, including settlement agents, attorneys, and escrow and title companies, if the creditor does not require the imposition of the charges or the services provided and does not retain the charges. Examples of charges which are included in the finance charge include any of the following types of charges which are applicable: 1. Interest, time price differential, and any amount payable under a point, discount, or other system or additional charges. 2. Service or carrying charge. 3. Loan fee, finder's fee, or similar charge. 4. Fee for an investigation or credit report. 5. Premium or other charge for any guarantee or insurance protecting the creditor against the obligor's default or other credit loss. 6. Borrower-paid mortgage broker fees, including fees paid directly to the broker or the lender for delivery to the broker, whether such fees are paid in cash or financed. B. Life, accident, or health insurance premiums included in finance charge. Charges or premiums for credit life, accident, or health insurance written in connection with any consumer credit transaction shall be included in the finance charges unless 1. The coverage of the debtor by the insurance is not a factor in the approval by the creditor of the extension of credit, and this fact is clearly disclosed in writing to the person applying for or obtaining the extension of credit, and 2. In order to obtain the insurance in connection with the extension of credit, the person to whom the credit is extended must give specific affirmative written indication of his desire to do so after written disclosure to him of the cost thereof. C. Property damage and liability insurance premiums included in finance charges or premiums for insurance, written in connection with any consumer credit transaction, against loss of or damage to property or against liability arising out of the ownership or use of property, shall be included in the finance charge unless a clear and specific statement in writing is furnished by the creditor to the person to whom the credit is extended, setting forth the cost of the insurance if obtained from or through the creditor, and stating that the person to whom the credit is extended may choose the person through which the insurance is to be obtained. D. Items exempted from computation of finance charge in all credit transactions if any of the following items is itemized and disclosed in accordance with the regulations of the Bureau in connection with any transaction, then the creditor need not include that item in the computation of the finance charge with respect to that transaction. 1. Fees and charges prescribed by law which actually are or will be paid to public officials for determining the existence of or for perfecting or releasing or satisfying any security related to the credit transaction. 2. The premium payable for any insurance in lieu of perfecting any security interest otherwise required by the creditor in connection with the transaction, if the premium does not exceed the fees and charges described in paragraph 1, which would otherwise be payable. 3. Any tax levied on security instruments or on documents evidencing indebtedness if the payment of such taxes is a precondition for recording the instrument securing the evidence of indebtedness. E. Items exempted from computation of finance charge in extensions of credit secured by an interest in real property. The following items, when charged in connection with any extension of credit secured by an interest in real property, shall not be included in the computation of the finance charge with respect to that transaction. 1. Fees or premiums for title examination, title insurance, or similar purposes. 2. Fees for preparation of loan-related documents. 3. Escrows for future payments of taxes and insurance. 4. Fees for notarizing deeds and other documents. 5. Appraisal fees, including fees related to any pest infestation or flood hazard inspections conducted prior to closing. 6. Credit reports. F. Tolerances for accuracy in connection with credit transactions not under an open-end credit plan that are secured by real property or a dwelling. The disclosure of the finance charge and other disclosures affected by any finance charge. 1. Shall be treated as being accurate for purposes of this subchapter if the amount disclosed as the finance charge A does not vary from the actual finance charge by more than $100, or B is greater than the amount required to be disclosed under this subchapter, and 2. Shall be treated as being accurate for purposes of Section 1635 of this title if A, except as provided in subparagraph B, the amount disclosed as the finance charge does not vary from the actual finance charge by more than an amount equal to 0.5% of the total amount of credit extended. Or, B, in the case of a transaction other than a mortgage referred to in Section 1602 AA 1 of this title, which if I is a refinancing of the principal balance then due and any accrued and unpaid finance charges of a residential mortgage transaction as defined in Section 1602 W 1 of this title, or is any subsequent refinancing of such a transaction, and 2. Does not provide any new consolidation or new advance, if the amount disclosed as the finance charge does not vary from the actual finance charge by more than an amount equal to 1% of the total amount of credit extended. Federal Reserve notes are obligations of the United States, not the people. 18 U.S. Code Section 8 Obligation or other security of the United States defined the term obligation or other security of the United States includes all bonds, certificates of indebtedness, national bank currency, Federal Reserve notes, Federal Reserve Bank notes, coupons, United States notes, Treasury notes, gold certificates, silver certificates, fractional notes, certificates of deposit, bills, checks.
Did you hear that? Fractional notes, fractional banking, promissory notes, bonds, coupons, remittance coupons.
Coupons, United States notes, Treasury notes, gold certificates, silver certificates, fractional notes, certificates of deposit, bills, checks, or drafts for money, drawn by or upon authorized officers of the United States, stamps and other representatives of value, of whatever denomination, issued under any act of Congress, and canceled United States stamps. The United States is required to pay all principal and interest on its obligations. 31 U.S. Code Section 3123 Payment of Obligations and Interest on the Public Debt. A. The faith of the United States government is pledged to pay, in legal tender, principal and interest on the obligations of the government issued under this chapter. B. The Secretary of the Treasury shall pay interest due or accrued on the public debt. As the Secretary considers expedient, the Secretary may pay in advance interest on the public debt by a period of not more than 1 year, with or without a rebate of interest on the coupons. C. 1. The Secretary may issue a bond, note, or certificate of indebtedness authorized under this chapter whose principal and interest are payable in a foreign currency stated in the bond, note, or certificate. The
Foreign currency. Foreign currency, which means anything not theirs or made by them is then considered foreign.
Secretary may dispose of the bonds, notes, and certificates at a price that is at least par value without complying with Section 3102, b, d, of this title. 2. In determining the dollar amount of bonds, notes, and certificates of indebtedness that may be issued under this chapter, the dollar equivalent of the amount of bonds, notes, and certificates payable in a foreign currency is determined by the par of the exchange value on the date of issue of the bonds, notes, or certificates as published by the Secretary under Section 5151 of this title. 3. The Secretary may designate depositaries in foreign countries in which any part of the proceeds of bonds, notes, or certificates of indebtedness payable in the foreign currency may be deposited.
All right, so just a little bit more of credits. Maybe you knew that, maybe you didn't. Hopefully you guys are able to pick out some pieces as of right now. That document is available on Black Site 32 on the free document page number 2. And don't forget to subscribe here and also there on Black Site 32 with the newsletter. We're getting that ramped up. We've only sent out maybe like maybe 3 at this point in time. So more will be coming. The more I see that people are even interested in getting some information or being sent some files that aren't on Black Site 32, then sign up and we will get that fired away. All right, guys, that's it. I got more videos to do. I mean, there might be a lifetime of videos and books. So I'm going to do my best to bring you guys the best stuff and not every single thing, but the fire stuff. So I'll talk to you guys later. Take care. We'll be back in 2 and 2. Chuck Woolery. Have a great day, guys.